YouTube, what's going on? This is crazy. I'm back. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Chelsea. Now that you clicked on this video, we're friends, so you can call me Chelly. It's been 2 years since I posted a YouTube video on my channel, and I feel awful about it, but guess what? We're making steps. This video is a step in the right direction. It is my goal for 2025 to just post one video a month. Just one. I will say that the editing process just kills it for me, even though I have like ideas in my brain. I can't. I want to say thank you to those of you who've been commenting on my videos in past and present. Your encouragement has made me want to get back on YouTube. I was reading comments that were like, oh my gosh, I'm glad that you have good clean content that I don't mind watching in front of my children. Or like, oh my gosh, I needed this video. This is exactly what I was looking for, and the video is not 5 to 10 years old. And I just reminded myself that this is exactly why I made this channel, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, which is encourage people to not make the same mistakes embroidering that I made. So I'm back. I'm not even going to go into details about what I've been doing in these past 2 years and why I haven't been on YouTube. The truth is that I've just been working, and I could not find a good work-life balance that this made sense in, and I'm really trying to prioritize that now. Making this a priority. Super excited you're here. Is this filming? Okay, I was gonna freak out. So today's video is going to be super simple. This is how to manipulate text on Stitch Artist Level 1. I have Stitch Artist Level 1 by Brilliance, and Brilliance Stitch Artist Level 1 is what I have. That is the digitizing software that's on my computer. I have Level 1 and 2. I have 1 and 2, but we're talking about Level 1 today. Do not, let me lower my voice. Please do not get on that comment and talk about, are you sure you have that? Yeah, I do. I know, because I paid the $199 so I could buy it and then put it on my computer. And it came in a disc. And I can't put a disc in my computer. I went through the steps. I know this. I know. Yeah. I personally believe the text in your design can take it from being something a little more basic to something really elevated. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do that, what it looks like to curve letters in your design, create like arches and circles, play with text, put text and fonts into your software. We're going to talk about all of those things from start to finish. I'm going to try to put everything in time markers and chapters so that you can fast forward to what you're looking for. So if you're just needing like curved text, because I know that is like one of my favorite things to do and I could not figure it out, go ahead, you can fast forward to that chapter and then it will explain it. If you have questions after this, please let me know, but I'm so happy to just be back on YouTube, and I hope that you guys find something very informative out of this video. If you have different ideas for me of videos I can do in the future that would be beneficial to you, please drop a comment and I'd be happy to oblige. But like I said, we're getting back on YouTube, just one video a month, so be on the lookout. Maybe turn your notifications on, give me a subscribe and a like. I've never asked for people to do this, but I'm this close. I'm this close to being monetized, and I'm excited about it. All of that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have anything for me, leave it in the comments and I'll be happy to get back to you.
Alright, what's up? It's VoiceOver Chelsea, and the first thing I'm showing you today is how to download fonts from Etsy. Etsy is my favorite place to get fonts because I'm on this app all the time anyway, and they take Apple Pay. You're not beating that in my book. The first thing that I do is just search embroidery fonts. There are so many that come up. I like to do it this way because you can ensure that your design is going to stitch out exactly how you need to instead of trying to manipulate it inside your digitizing software. This pack that I'm showing you is my absolute favorite. It was the first one that I ever got. One lesson that I learned is that you really want to download the font in the exact font size that you need. So they have half an inch, inch and a half, 2 inch, whatever. Get it to be the exact size that you need because you don't want to manipulate this inside your embroidery software. It will distort the way that the font was intended to be. That's tip number one. Tip number two is to always look at the reviews of the shop. Do they have good reviews? Do they have a lot of reviews? Can you see the way that someone stitched out what you're about to create? If all the answers are yes, go ahead and pull the trigger. At that point, you can go into your previous purchases and download these pretty immediately. Just be careful, there are two here. One might be the actual font and the other might be a picture of the font. So all that I do is download it. Sometimes it comes in a zip file, so I double click to unzip. My computer handles the rest. And then I'm just going to drag and drop that and put it on my desktop screen. I like to do it this way so that I can easily access all of my files because me and computers don't really get along, so I like seeing it like this. After that, all I'm going to do is drag and drop these into Brilliance, and that's pretty much it. I have font that I just downloaded for $4, $20 from Etsy into my Brilliance software. Now that we're in our software, let's get a little bit crazy. This is such a random tip that I wanted to share with you guys, but if you go to your grid settings, you can change the background color of the grid that you're working in. I like to do this when the client has requested to see a proof of the digitizing before I get started. I kind of change the background color to match the sweatshirt or whatever they want to put it on. You can always revert this back to the original because I do think Brilliance was intentional about making that color soft on the eyes. In the same setting, you can change your hoop size, which is a must for me before I get started on any project. To get started with your text, all you have to do is press this blue A in the top toolbar. This is going to show you where all of those fonts that you just dragged and dropped in or the downloaded fonts are all going to be found here, as well as everything in this gray box is going to be your best friend while you're manipulating text. The first thing that I'm going to do is just type in the message that we're going to work with today, and we're going to use how to manipulate text because that's exactly what we're doing. The font that is seen here is a block font that comes when you download Stitch Artist Level 1. It's really the only one that they have, but it is so great because you can manipulate it in so many different ways. It stretches, it shrinks. It's not like a font that you bought from Etsy. It's one that can be played around with and it will still turn out great every time. While we are here and we just have one simple line of text, there's a few different things you can do. If you hit the style button in our gray box, it can show you different ways that you can make your letters ascend, descend, or even this is a great place where you can work on monogram. You can switch up the order of your letters or make them concave. You can make them look like a fisheye. There are so many different options here and very fun to play around with. I don't necessarily see how this could fit into a design that I'm doing on a sweatshirt, but you never know, and that's why it's good to see all your options. Speaking of monogram, we can come over to order and decide what is left, right, and center. If you have 3 letters, this could work really well. Another thing I like to do is focus on the slant. You can move it over, shift it left or right to make it more italicized, lean forward or back. You can also play around this with the spacing, whether it be the individual letter spacing or the word spacing. So instead of having to drag each letter to accommodate that, you can just play around with these things to add a stylistic flair. To get it back to what you originally had, just use these arrows on the side and it'll whip it back into shape. Now, if you want to add more than one line of text, there is a 3-line icon next to that little line. This is going to bring up a bigger text box where you can add more rows of text. Similar to how you would in a Word document or anything like that, you can decide whether you want these lines shifted to the right, to the left, to the center, and now we have a new button included, which is line space. So instead of just word space or letter space, in my personal opinion, this font is amazing until you start manipulating it too much. And so what I like to do is go into the Stitch tab near the top and then just drop down the satin density. That is going to make sure that it adds more stitches to your design so there's no gapping. There are a lot of properties to check out and play around with in that Stitch tab, but I'm going to bring us back to the main screen. Opposite of those 3-line tab is a circle tab. This is going to be how we curve our text. All I'm going to do is hit enter on my text and then it's going to put it into an arch shape. I'm going to delete a little bit of it so we can see it better, but it is simple as that. As soon as you put your text in, hit the circle icon, you're going to be curved. Now that we're in the circle tab, we have a few different settings that we didn't have before. This main slider is going to determine how arched or how curved your text is. You can go out the wazoo and basically make it into a swirl, or I do think you could make a perfect circle using this style. I would recommend spacing out your letters or even the words so that it would match a little bit better, but it's definitely manageable. There is a button called Place on Bottom. Once you hit that square, it's going to make your text curve up instead of curving down, which can help make more stylistic changes. Honestly, that's it for curving text. It is so much fun to play around with once you get the hang of it. If you're like Chelsea, where the heck is the fonts that I just downloaded? You're just going to go to this drop down arrow still in that blue A font tab, and then you can find all the fonts that you downloaded. Make sure you drag them and drop them here because they're not going to show up automatically. Here in the next few seconds, I'm going to show you kind of what it would look like to do more of that monogram style. So as I'm sitting here as voiceover Chelsea, I was like, why did present Chelsea in this video decide to do the letters JAS? Oh, it's because she's obsessed with Joseph Andrew Starkey. So enjoy, guys. What I wanted to show you here is that you cannot move these text, typically, unless you're me and you're one of my friends, then we get to move them. What you're going to do is just rotate it and then shrink it down. This has been the only way that I've found that you can kind of minimize the size of a font that you bought as a certain inch size. This is not always ideal, but if you just need a tiny bit of size, this could be a good way to go about it. One of my favorite features is the one color tab. Here you can make everything on your screen the same color, which can be a time saver because I used to go in and do all of this individually, which is just not necessary. Stitch Artist has baked that in for us. Maybe you're thinking, hey, I need numbers. I would recommend that whenever you download text, you just make sure that the characters come with numbers. They should be shown on Etsy or whatever platform that you're downloading things on. I've done designs with semicolons, with apostrophes, you name it. As long as it comes in your font pack that you bought, you should be good to go. You can also change your fonts from different sizes here. As you can see, I have multiple fonts with different sizes downloaded, and that is going to be what changes it. Instead of doing that shrinking method I just told you, it's best to just go with the size that you really need. Now let's talk about what not to do. When I first started, all that I saw was this little text here next to the image, and I would click on that. It brings up like your standard computer text fonts, Times New Roman, Helvetica, whatever, and these are awful. I learned the hard way that all my options were is to type in what I wanted and then hit fill. Fill is going to fill it in with stitches, but it is not accurate. And this is why our text isn't very crisp at the edges, and there's some lines in there that will stitch onto your project. With the playback button at the top, you can see exactly how it's going to happen, and that is what we really, really want to avoid. Now, let's talk about script text. This is also a really fun way to do it. Today, I just copy and pasted someone's name from the internet. All that I do after I copy and paste is drag it so that the text fits inside my grid, my hoop size, as well as it is stretched to be the size that I really want it to be. That's going to make it a little bit more seamless. Now I'm just going to choose to draw with points, and then I'm going to go over all of the text and just make dots along the way. You can make these closer or farther apart depending on how specific you want to be. This is a great way to do handwriting if you want to do that, or just a script font without downloading it. When I'm done, I'm just going to use a satin border. You can change the width, you can change the density, and then you can go in and fix all of those little ins and outs to make sure that it is creating the shape that you really want. Truly, guys, that's all I have for you. If you have further questions or need something clarified, please let me know. I know this was a little bit shorter, but until next time, it's your friend Chelly, and I'm so glad you were here.